All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating story about how an entire industry won back a generation it thought I had lost for good, and what that teaches pretty much every other business about the future.
You see, for years, everybody thought they had it figured out. The conventional wisdom was crystal clear. China's younger generation, Gen Z, had just fallen out of love with the car. And, it seemed like they had some pretty good reasons.
So, who are we talking about here? This is a generation that, basically lives online. We're talking an average of 7.5 hours a day on their smartphones. They are deeply, deeply connected, they're socially aware, and they really value experiences that can curate and share online, way more than traditional marketing.
So to them, a car was kind of an obstacle, right? It was this big metal box where you couldn't use your phone, a total disconnect from their world. On top of that, it felt old school, a polluting machine when they're worried about the climate, and just a huge expense when ride-sharing apps were literally a tap away. A car didn't fit their values, and it sure didn't fit their needs.
So, yeah, it looked like game over. The auto industry was looking at a generation that just wasn't buying it. But if they were so against owning cars, why did a recent major survey show something that made everyone stop and wait, what?
Get this. Almost 70%, nearly 70% of China's Gen Z now say they have a plan to buy a car. Now, this isn't some small blip on the radar. This is a complete 180 on everything we thought we knew. So, what on earth happened?
I mean, did this entire generation just wake up and decide they suddenly loved searching for parking? Was there some huge shift in their core values? No, the answer is no. It wasn't Gen Z that changed.
It was the car itself. The product underwent a massive transformation. It basically hit the reboot button on its own identity to fit into their world, changing from a simple machine into a piece of tech they already knew and loved.
The car stopped being just the way to get from A to B and became, a smart, mobile space. It was no longer this clunky piece of old hardware. Instead, it became another powerful tech device, just like the one they already carried in their pocket.
And this whole evolution was really powered by three key pieces of tech. You had the promise of autonomous driving, you had AI assistance built right in, and you had the potential of 5G connectivity. All of this worked together to make the car feel less like a machine and more like, a smartphone on wheels.
And this quote just nails it. It's the perfect analogy. They don't want the old, standalone product. They want a digital experience they already know, just in a new shape. They don't want a car. They want a computer that moves.
Okay, so what does this new generation really want in a car? Well, the survey data actually paints a super clear picture for us.
If you look at the data, compared to older generations, Gen Z is all about what's new, what's tech-forward, and what's trendy. Those things are way more important to them than, say, what their friends think or just living for the moment. They're strategic consumers who want the latest and greatest tech, not just some old-school status symbol.
And this focus on cutting-edge tech leads to this. This is a stunning result. A full 75% of these Gen Z buyers prefer domestic Chinese brands. That old prestige that foreign automakers used to have, it's fading, fast.
And here's the thinking behind it. Sure, they see German cars as high quality and Japanese cars as reliable, but they see their own domestic brands as the ones moving at lightning speed, packed with all the smart functions they actually want. They're picking innovation over legacy, plain and simple. And this mindset even changes why they go electric. Older buyers are focused on the practical stuff, right? Saving money on gas, getting tax breaks. But for Gen Z, it's not really about the cost savings. It's about the superior experience, the high-tech features, that awesome instant acceleration, and just the quiet, futuristic feel of the ride.
Okay, so this whole story is about way more than just cars. The Cars Comeback is basically a blueprint for anyone, in any industry, trying to connect with the modern Gen Z consumer.
The lesson is crystal clear. It doesn't matter if you're selling a car or a coffee maker, you have to follow these steps to make your product a seamless part of their life. Because for Gen Z, that life, it orbits around one central object.
And here it is. For Gen Z, the smartphone is the sun. Every other device, everything, is just a planet in its orbit. It has to play their music, stream their shows, and integrate with their world. If your product forces them to disconnect from that center, it's already obsolete.
The car was considered a mature product, something that had pretty much reached its final form. But it found this incredible new life by completely transforming its core identity to serve a new generation. And that leaves us with one final big question. What other everyday object that we all think is done is actually just one big reinvention away from capturing the world's most powerful consumer group? What's next?